All right, so most of you probably know a lot of this information. We are using this also as a practice run for Boston, where we're presenting our project at the National Organization for Arts and Healthcare program. So a lot of this will be information that you guys already know, but feel free to chime in. I don't want to put you guys to sleep, and I don't want to fall asleep because I did work last night. But, so we're just gonna go through the presentation. I'm Ilona, I work on the CCU. I do a few other little extracurricular activities. Megan, I don't know if you want to come in. So in this project, Establishing Arts in Healthcare, I think it's also very important to keep in mind that our mission is that the Alaska Native people are the healthiest people in the world. In order to achieve that goal, we need to make sure that we are also that we are also taking care of ourselves the best that we can. So arts and health to some people might be fluffy. To me, it's deeply personal. That's my dad on the left. He is a full-time ceramicist and artist. He focuses a lot on nature, on that he actually did for a woman who had lost a baby, so he made a belly bowl for her with her belly button imprint on it. So art is deeply rooted into my family as well as music. My mom's in the red shirt there, and she was actually, that was in 2008 at Hershey Medical Center. They were playing for a holiday live performance. So keep in mind, arts and healthcare can be a little fluffy, but it's also quite important. Some people don't quite understand what kind of this arts and healthcare is. It's defined as the World Health Organization as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease and infirmity. And I think as we kind of go away from the medical practice model of all cure and looking more at holistic health, art becomes a lot more of what we try to do in hospitals. So, a little timeline. So it might be a little hard to read. A little timeline about establishing the arts and healthcare program that we've done here in the CCU. So I started in September of 2018, a year ago. In October, I joined the unit-based council, and at that point we had just opened it'd been a few months since we'd opened a new side on the CCU, as well as we had all new management, new CSS positions, which are our clinical shift supervisors, and there was just a lot of burnout. In January we had record high acuity, so a lot of the staff, I think, were feeling a little overworked, overwhelmed, and not a lot of extra time to reflect and pause and keep going and showing up every day. So I met with our manager and I said, I've done some of these kind of wellness activities, these arts and healthcare activities, but keeping in mind that I'm new, I don't really know the avenues at ANMC. I didn't quite understand, how do you start something here? Where I was before, I'd been there for 5 years, so it's a little different being somewhere where you know all your resources versus trying to find your resources. So we kind of talked a little bit about trying to come up with kind of identifying the need of the hospital. At ANMC, if you want to talk about the most beautiful art ever, I bring family members to our gift store all the time to come here. So identifying the need, we have beautiful art, we have drum circles that we walk into every night, but it seemed like we could really do more with staff. So March wrote the proposal, and then that's kind of when I kind of started meeting with people. So I started meeting with Dr. Tina Woods, and she said you should meet with these people, and so there was a lot of daytime meetings, nighttime workings, to try to fit that all in, to try to say this is kind of what I want to do, this is what our unit-based council wants to do, and how do we move forward. Because our ANTHC is quite protected, they did want me, even though it's purely a quality improvement project, to go through the International Review Board, and we had to actually submit twice. So unfortunately, historically, there has been some research that does not always show, you know, our organization in the best light. So they want to really make sure whenever you are doing any type of project that everything meets our mission, that meets our goals, meets our vision. And so that was quite a large process to submit twice to the IRB. And then on top of that, I had to submit our proposal to the non-research determination committee once I got the reference number for the IRB too. So once we finally got all approved, we did some fundraising. We did a taco fundraiser. We got some private donations from our physicians. We've gotten some other donations from management, and we were able to host our first event. And then the future is, well, this is right now obviously just in a 6-month pilot program in the critical care unit. The idea is that we can expand it to the other inpatient units and to the entire campus. So some of the workshops in general, they have a few different components to them. These pictures are just at the workforce, or the wellness fair, the annual wellness fair this year. This was a little bead station that Amelia Simonoff and I set up. That was, people could come and make little keychains, and those are bone beads. So some of the components that are in each workshop is that we want them to be measurable, and by measurable, it'd be at the end of each workshop a simple survey that people say, how did this affect you? Do you want to do more of these type of activities? Does this help your work balance? Does this help your well-being? Things like that. And we have a measurement tool that we've adopted from Penn State Hershey Medical Center, where they also have an arts and healthcare program. It has to be compliant with all hospital procedures, policies, infection control, and safety. It has to be time sensitive. So I know as an ICU nurse, you know, I don't always have those guaranteed breaks that we all wish we had, but I might have 15 minutes to be in our break room. You know, there's a lot of activities that happen during the daytime or that are away from your unit, but the idea is really to bring these activities to the actual unit. Because I know my little OCD self, I have a hard time like being far away. I mean, if there's pizza in the break room, I am in there for sure, but you know, like it's hard to really step away for longer than just a few minutes. So each project has to be time sensitive. We want them to be able to be done on the day shift and the evening shift. And then we have to have the coverage, and we have gotten approval from our manager that we can always have paid coverage for the unit so people can attend these workshops. And then they're geared towards relaxation, community building, and a finished product. One of the very cool things is that we also got CE approval for each one of these workshops, which has been, I think, a great benefit for a lot of people. And then most importantly, they need to represent the Alaska Native or Alaska culturally, both in the art and the teacher, and accessible to all artistic and all artistic or creative capabilities. So here are a few pictures just from our first event that we just hosted. This was a build your own succulent terrarium with live music. This is right in our break room. There's your big debut, Cheryl in there. Both of the Cheryls are in there. So we just set up a little table with little stations of pick your little vase, put your river rocks in there, some dirt, plants, and then decorate as you wish, and you have a little succulent terrarium. It was a great success. We had over 50 people attend, 46 people filled out surveys. We were able to get the day shift and the night shift. I think everybody but one nurse was able to actually come for that time period. We did 2.5 hours during the day and about 3 hours at night. We had a few administrators also come, which was nice for them to see our work in action. And then here's some other really fun pictures. So Dr. Kelly is one of our intensivists. One of the big things that we are also really trying to do with this project is, even though I talked about nurse burnout and, you know, kind of those, where this stemmed from was like, what can we do to support our staff to increase morale and all of that, it also kind of works a lot on staff engagement. So Dr. Kelly was like super into it, which I was very surprised, that he would be as excited about it as he was. And then Jason's from Pedro Bay, which is about a village of 40 people. And he talks so much about how he loves Anchorage, but misses nature. And so it was really fun for him. He said it was like so nice to just dig in dirt for a little bit and kind of reminds him of home. And then we have 2 other nurses. So Jason's a CNA. So again, that interpersonal collaboration is a side effect of arts and crafts. Nikki V, she says, anything nature always makes me happy. The timing couldn't have been better. It was at the end of an emotionally draining week and was feeling compassion fatigue at the start of my shift. It was so nice. 15, sorry. It was so nice to have a nurse break me for 15 minutes to do some much needed, peaceful, fun, creative self-care. The energy on the unit was elevated that shift. It was great, lots of smiles all around. This was the first for me after over 12 years of nursing. Thank you. Here are some more pictures. Again, we do want to incorporate the flex unit, which is part of us as well. So we have some flex nurses there. Someone from housekeeping that just happened to be on the unit came in as well. And then our quality officer, is that his title, is also there. And then this one I think is really touching too. This is another one of our nurses, and she said, I loved how it made me feel like someone really cared about my mental health. In this case, actions were louder than words. Also, it couldn't have come at a better time. I literally had just experienced a very devastating circumstance. Instead of getting upset, I got to go and play with plants and dirt. It really made me feel special and taken care of. So, and then you can see Ed, who's one of our nurses, playing a little acoustic guitar. So as they came in, made their little plant, they could just sit there and have just a 2-second break and not have to think about, the stresses of the day, and then get back out there. So some of the future wellness workshops that we want to do as well is that we would love to do the transformation tiles, and then I just hosted a Teach the Teacher little workshop so that other people that are part of UBC and who've been instrumental in this project, like Cheryl, that can learn how to kind of go through these prompts of when you're doing the different projects, so that it's not, that we can expand and continue on. Keychain beading, like you saw with the bone beads, repurposed fridge magnets, so like you tell someone like, hey Jonas, write your favorite word, like the thing that makes you the happiest on a magnet, and then you decorate the magnet with all kinds of repurposed papers and stickers and little doodads. Paper beads is another one of like, why do you show up to work every day, and then you make a little bead and you hang it on your keychain. Driftwood sea mobiles, drum painting, and then we've also actually recently met with a fitness coach. She owns F&H Fitness, and she says that she'd love to do some type of stuff with us, as well as 2 massage therapists who want to come in and do chair massage. And then other narrative medicine workshops. So for anyone who's interested in starting programs like this, I think number one is always identifying the need. What we might need on the ICU might be very different than what they need on a NICU or on the 4th floor or in HR. So really identifying your need of what do the staff need and what's feasible. Like for us, the 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. or 3 a.m. to 5 a.m. are a little bit slower times, but that really varies, per department. And can they step away? Do they have a space to step away? So identifying the need, and then identifying champions. And that's been one of the best parts of this process is, meeting these different people throughout the process, and seeing where else. Like the epidemiology center, I never thought I'd email with them every week, but they've been just like super helpful. They've also sponsored me to go to 2 different workshops, one on survey design, so that when we did our pre and post survey we're surveying our staff about our well-being index, I got to really learn on how to create a valid tool, which I did, and then also a tribal grant writing workshop that was 3 days long. So that's been really, really interesting in this, and again, a total side effect of being interested in doing this program. And then, obviously discover the proper avenue and develop a plan. And finding the proper avenue has been a challenge with some trials and tribulations, but overall it's just been, the support has been really, really overwhelming in a wonderful way. So future aspirations, my hope that I love arts and crafts is that arts in health becomes sustainable, intuitive for employees and management. That we change kind of the culture that it's okay to take care of yourself, it's okay to take a little break, and whether that is in the form of a 15-minute massage or a little arts and crafts project, that we just becomes intuitive to our work culture. That employees positively report feeling their health and wellness really matters. I think so often the people that give the most give the least to themselves. So that I think is something that this kind of project tries to allow you to take a little time. And long-term hope is that we have campus-wide engagement. Of course, right now it's just approval for the CCU. So this talk is about COPES. So of course it takes a little courage to kind of drum up the idea and put yourself out there, especially someone being new both to a tribal hospital and to Alaska, to start that, optimistic that, that some other people might actually support this as well. Persistence, because I had to try not to snooze my alarm a lot of times, because it was, as I said, often days off that I would have to come in for certain meetings, but it makes me really happy and it's my anti-burnout. So that, and then the enthusiasm, I of course have found so much personal joy in doing this, and other people's enthusiasm really fuels me as well, and the strength to haul a lot of river rocks into the break room. So there are, at ANMC, there are actually a lot of resources. Something that has been very evident in the pre-survey that I did about well-being index and wellness on your unit is that people seem, like 75% of people said that there are 0 resources for wellness. These are just a few of them. The EAP, Employee Assistance Program, offers all kinds of stuff, free counseling. They actually can give you like financial advice, discounts on a lot of different tickets, all kinds of stuff. So that's a good resource. The Healthy Healers, which all of us in ICU were able to do, it's a resilience training that was started by Dr. Woods, I believe. She started it actually for the community health aides, but it's now in high demand here, all about kind of resiliency. The Critical Incident Management Team, CISM team, which is to help with like traumatic events. The annual wellness fair, it used to be called the Campus Safety Fair, the Safety Fair, and now that they changed it to Wellness Fair, it was wildly successful. Also, Dr. Kelly came down to that because he heard there was arts and crafts, and he ended up winning train tickets for his whole family. I know, and then he was showing me pictures of that. So that was kind of fun to see that side of him. And then the fitness center, which are both free for us to use. Those are great ways to stay healthy and happy and well. And then the Workforce Wellness Initiative, actually, which is something that I have joined back in, it just started in the fall. There's actually a policy right now that's being written about how we need to take care of our staff, how this isn't just a, take care of yourself easy. Dr. Woods, who's a great advocate for this, she was like, right from the top, we need to make this a policy so people don't, that it is in place, that there are stuff to take care of us. And that little quote is, self-care is giving the world the best of you, not what's left of you. Thank you guys so much. Do you have any questions about anything?
What do you have to do to apply to the Institutional Review Board?
Ooh, yeah. So it's an online, very non-intuitive process. You have to submit a letter. You have to usually meet with them first, then you have to submit a letter and your proposal. And there was about, I think, 6 different forms that I had to send in. And then they only meet usually, I think, once a month or once a quarter. And then you'll get your revision after that and then reapply.
And what's the reason for that?
For what?
The Institutional Review Board, what are they looking for?
They're looking for to make sure that what you're, researching, whether it's research or not research, that's what they were looking at for our project, but also, what?
Human rights.
Oh, human rights, yeah. Make sure what we're doing is correct and kind to all people involved. So, yeah. We'll shout out old Sarah in the back there. She also, and Amy, you're medical as well, correct? Yeah, they're PAs too. So they also, I think, experience probably a lot of the same stressors that we all experience on the inpatient side of things. So, or more, yeah, probably more for them.
So when you do start getting things like going, how often do you expect to do little projects like the succulent thing? Like how
often are we going to be doing them?
Yeah.
Our idea is to kind of do them every 2 to 3 weeks, and just like not any specific days. We do realize that patient safety is like number one. So if it's like an insane day and everybody's like in over their heads, we're going to be flexible with our program. I think the idea is every 2 to 3 weeks and make sure we have enough coverage on that day and everything looks okay. And then kind of rotating them in terms, it would be nice to have every single, a different program every single time. But our idea is kind of halfway through the program to also reevaluate and say, what is helping you guys? What's not? Is the succulent really fun? Was the tile really lame? And those forms that everybody fills out at the end are really helpful for that. And a really nice part of working with other people around campus and using my resources is that I'm working with Gretchen, who's our statistician on campus. So she puts all of that into a database, and I can just really easily log into RedCap, which is what we use to look at their research. But yeah, the idea is every 2 to 3 weeks and probably rotating the exact different